Welcome back to the rebooking of the WWF in 1992. We obviously, as you can see here, have signed quite a few wrestlers: Sean Waltman, John Layfield, Stevie Ray, Booker T, Steve Armstrong, Samu, Fatu, Tracy Smothers, and the Patriot Del Wilkes have joined the promotion. While I wasn't recording, I made offers to Nelson Frazier Jr., which is Mabel, and Bobby Horn, which would be Mo, for Men on a Mission. And you may be wondering, Bob, why would you do that in 1992? Well, today at work, I was wearing a Men on a Mission t-shirt, and a surprising amount of people knew who they were in 2025. And with this development, I immediately thought I need to sign these guys and, by the looks of it, push them to the absolute moon if they even accept our offer, which I would imagine they would. Anyway, I also have some more developments too in terms of storylines that we're going to develop here. So let's go to our event history, though, real quick, if I can. There it is, right here. All right. So our first show was a live event, as you can see right here, and it was pretty successful. I think all things considered, we've got over 5,000 people, a $300,000 house. Savage and Jake Roberts was pretty good, and a match between Bret Hart and Rick Martel was 4.5 stars. So, not a bad start. We did get some news that I didn't really look at before. So obviously we have all these acceptings of offers. There's our summary. We got just over, $301,000, just over that in ticket sales. But what I didn't notice was Jim Powers here, and I clicked on it, and hey, just letting you know, I'm increasing my booking fee from $0 per appearance to $400 per appearance, which made me chuckle quite a bit. Because are you telling me that he was working for nothing every night, and now he's doing $400? I mean, that doesn't bother me. I mean, he's not under I don't believe that Powers is under a written deal. I think it's informal. Yeah. So, this will go on for however long we want it to. I just thought that was very comical. Now, for some of our workers here, I think we need to offer officially a contract to Bam Bam Bigelow. And I mean, this is pretty expensive when you look at it, but we have a lot of guys who are coming off the books in about 2 months or so. And I'm going to change, obviously, these gimmicks later on. But he obviously wants quite a bit of money. And the merch usually, I think, is like around 5%. And pay-per-view, I mean, I would rather not do the pay-per-view thing. Maybe he won't do that. The gate per appearance, that's nuts. I doubt he'll even consider this. Yeah. Okay. So then maybe we won't, for right now, look at Bam Bam Bigelow. We have plenty enough of contracts out there anyway. This episode, we have our first television show and also a live event. And we are, I believe it's 15 days, maybe longer. No, 15 days into the Royal Rumble. But I'm going to look at our angles, our storylines right here. Okay, so I guess you can say I developed a couple of these ideas here. So obviously we have the Jannetty Shawn Michaels barbershop incident. I mean, that just has to kind of happen to solidify the heel turn officially by Shawn Michaels. And then the other ones here are going to be a little bit different. So Papa Shango is fairly new to the promotion, and we have Coco Beware. I'm not going to divulge too much into it because I'll gradually say it. But this one I feel is probably a little hokey and certainly fits the 1992 vibe. Sid and Hogan, who are in fact friends, but maybe the world title is going to play a factor in that. We have Piper and Flair, who clearly despise each other. And of course, speaking of despise, Savage and Jake Roberts. So, that is what we have going on right now in terms of storylines. And then hopefully, after we do these two shows, we'll get some more guys signed. What I do like about this is that these guys have all signed, but technically, since it's the same day, they're not on our roster to use. And not that I would be using these guys for the most part anyway. All right, so let's look into Superstars of Wrestling, and then I will kind of describe or tell the general gist of it, and we'll see how the show translate within the game. We're going to start off the show with the barbershop incident, where Shawn is going to throw Jannetty through the window, and then Jannetty is going to get medical attention afterwards. That's going to take up 11 minutes. Our first match is going to be Virgil defeating Barry Horowitz. We have Sergeant Slaughter, who's going to have a promo here where he's just talking about a new leaf, 1992. I mean, he was with the wrong crowd in 91. And yeah, he was the WWF champion, but he wants to be the WWF champion for the people, be the champion they deserve. And that's not what they had before when he was a turncoat, that type of vibe. As he's going to be officially entered into the Royal Rumble. The Nasty Boys are going to defeat Reno Reagans and Jim Powers, who has now recently made $400 per appearance instead of $0. And guess what? The Nasty Boys want revenge because they lost the tag titles to Legion of Doom at SummerSlam. And they need to retain the titles, so they want no DQ, similar to what they had at SummerSlam, but they're prepared now. And they're going to get their rematch. I did not want to do the Natural Disasters here. I didn't like the match in the real time of it. So, kind of treating the undercard of the Royal Rumble as a filler, considering there's 30 guys in the main event. I figured we could just revisit this, see how we go from there. I have plans for the Natural Disasters, so they're not going to be like ignored in the tag title division by any means. But for right now, I think that just kind of as a placeholder, revisiting the Nasty Boys and kind of filling that pay-per-view with a rematch is maybe not the worst idea. I could have done the Beverly Brothers, but I don't want to job them out on a pay-per-view so quickly, especially to the Legion of Doom. So I think we can build that up a little bit and maybe have that match mean something more on television should we go that direction. The British Bulldog defeating Von Kruss. The running power slam there. Now, this is where the Sid and Hogan angle is kind of going to kick off. Now, Sid is going to be interviewed, and he has excitement for the Royal Rumble, where he's confident he's going to defeat the other 29 men scheduled to compete. And Mean Gene mentions Sid's friend Hulk Hogan, and Sid is going to have a little bit of sarcasm, where he goes, if it came down to himself and his good old friend, Hulk Hogan, the better man would prevail, and Sid is the better man. So, a little bit of sarcasm, maybe a little bit, have it come off as friendly competition, but there's that tone where maybe we can't trust Sid as a good guy. Speaking of the Natural Disasters from earlier, they're going to be in action. They're going to defeat Louis Spicolli and Scott Taylor, with Typhoon getting the pin. With the Big Splash, IRS, it's going to beat Bob Smedley, also known as Bobby Blaze. I should probably change his name with the write-off. And Papa Shango is going to be interviewed by Mean Gene. And this is basically setting up his character officially, highlighting the voodoo aspect of his character. Gene's going to be a little concerned with the mannerisms that Shango has, the smoking skull. Notes that several WWF superstars are vulnerable to his curse, and they all better watch out, both the big and small. Whether it be Hulk Hogan or enhancement guys, that's kind of what the general idea is there. And if you can see by the angle, the storylines that we've set up, the first target we have set up, but that's not addressed here yet. But it will be very, very soon. And then in our main event, Jim Duggan, he's going to just beat Hercules in about 5 minutes with the running clothesline. Pretty simple there. I mean, it's setting up a little bit of the Royal Rumble, which again is about 2 weeks away, on probably like prime time, which is I believe is a 2-hour show for us. There's gonna be a lot more promos, stuff like that. Certainly a lot more matches, especially if we're doing like 3-minute matches. Very important context, because I'm gonna try to maintain to it as best as I can. But for the location, like Superstars and Wrestling Challenge, and Primetime, for that matter, Superstars and Wrestling Challenge were, they would have 4 episodes that were all from the same location because of the taping schedule, and we don't have that luxury. So I'm not going to have like this episode in Maine for 4 weeks. I'm going to be moving it around. Same thing with Challenge, and then Primetime was a compilation show essentially with some exclusives. But for us, it's going to be all exclusives. Now you'll also notice here that the potential attendance that we would get for this show is 20,000 fans. I guess in good conscience, I could not book an arena to fit 10,000 fans or 20,000 fans for this show, and certainly I can't do it for 10. But we need to make money, and if we can get close to 10 to see this show in this format, then I think we're going to have to try to do that. And I wish there was a way to make like a dark match or something to make the live audience to feel like, hey, they got their money's worth. But again, we don't have that. We don't have that luxury. So, I guess there's nothing else for us to do here, but we can start the show, see how this translates over. I'm not expecting any of these matches to be like, wow, that was crazy good, because they're not really getting any time, but we're building our stars. We're starting the Sid and Hogan kind of dynamic, the Papa Shango feud, the feud potentially here with Coco Beware is going to be planted a little bit. So, and obviously the Jannetty and Shawn Michaels. I can't forget that. We're kicking off with that too. I feel like that's a pretty big start. All right, so let's see what we've got on the show. Okay, seems like it was maybe a little bit weaker here. Okay. 77. Shawn Michaels being attractive made that good. Okay. And Shawn's hurt, or Marty Jannetty's being hurt 66. So not a huge start there for the feud there, but I'm not too worried about it. Match was too short to get a good match out of it. That's fine. I mean, we don't really need the wrestling on these shows to be extremely well. We just want Virgil to get some momentum. Half a star. Sergeant Slaughter, 69%. He's got no momentum, so they couldn't get behind him. That's fitting, because he's not going to win the Royal Rumble probably. Okay, here we go. 1.5 for the Nasty Boys defeating Riggins and Jim Powers. Nothing changed for their popularity, but Riggins and Powers is going down for the Lost. And as you can see, incredible chemistry for the Nasty Boys. Masterful. So that's good. And then their promo calling out the Legion of Doom. That actually helped them quite a bit. Jimmy Hart too, and then Animal and Hawk just by connection. So that's good. Not too bad there. The fans are interested in a no DQ match at the Royal Rumble between these two teams. Again, too short, but that's the point. So Bulldog with the running power slam wins. And he looked like a threat, which really helps popularity. See, that's what we want. See, this sentence right here is exactly what we're looking to accomplish with these squash matches. So he gets over 1 point in popularity in North America and a little bit in Europe. That's exactly what we want. Here we go, Sid. Now, this apparently hurt Hulk Hogan for the popularity part, but it helped out Sid. So how that tells me is that the fans maybe like Sid more than like Hulk, which would be interesting to see how that is going to play out here. Again, too short of a match, but that's good. And Typhoon getting a bump up. I think Quake is significantly better than Typhoon, so we got to give Typhoon some wins here. Yeah, the intimidating presence of Earthquake. Okay, so that's good. That's good. They're making the natural disasters look like a force. That's what we like to see. IRS defeating Bob Schmedley. Gained a little bit of points here. Schmedley going down. That's fine. And again, I feel like these types of matches where we're increasing the popularity, or however you want to word it, is going to help on our house shows. So, as these continue on, if you see our IRS on the marquee, for example, you might be more inclined to watch him at the live shows. Papa Shango's promo here. Yep, so that doesn't surprise me. So we started off good with me and Gene talking about Shango and Shango cutting the promo. He's not the best of promos, but this is fine. An overall positive segment talking about Coco Beware, essentially. 77%. And then our main event got a whopping 1 star. And we boost Duggan's popularity. Hercules is going to be doing a bunch of jobs because his contract is coming up in February. So the running clothesline here by Duggan seals the deal. All right, so we did pretty good in Europe, 77%. So this show was better than the house show that we just had. And again, I'm not expecting crazy amount of numbers here or great matches by any means. That's not the point of our TV shows. Okay, we got some mail that came in or something. I heard a pop. I'm assuming. Well, you know what? We probably have to do our live event, right? Because we did this. Yep, we already bought. Okay, we're good. Yep. All right, let's go to our house show. That is the same day, and we went to California. I'm keeping the shows roughly where they were kind of located, so we're still in California. This is for January 3rd. I think, right? That's what it says, yeah. Okay, so we're going to start off with Papa Shango defeating Jim Powers in about 9 minutes. That's right, Jim Powers is making $400 a night. And I guess he was making 0. So I felt like maybe he should have some pretty good cash flow coming in. Shoulder Breaker's going to do that. We're going to be probably putting a lot of Papa Shango focus on TV because, number one, I like the Papa Shango character, and I think there is a lot of stuff that we can do with him and the character could probably last, well, a little bit longer than what had happened in real life for him in 1992. Sergeant Slaughter, who we just saw, wanted to be the champion that the fans can get behind and they deserve. He's going to beat the Berserker with the Cobra Clutch. He's going to pass him out, which is probably a pretty big win considering the Berserker character. But I figured, we can give Slaughter that big of a win on the house show. And our house show main event, which is going to be set up here, is going to be with Piper calling out Ric Flair. And it's going to lead to Flair accepting the challenge. These guys are going to be insulting each other. The basic insults of Flair, with Piper having a kilt. But Piper being the man that he is, he's a real man. What he's portraying isn't fake, unlike maybe Flair. The dyed hair, the whitened teeth, stuff like that Piper can do a rebuttal with. The real world's champion type of thing, where he's like, you're not the champion, you're pretending to be when you're declaring to be something that you're not. Hot Rod is what he is, and he's gonna kick his ass tonight, that type of stuff. That's what we're going for, and that's gonna be again the main event tonight. Intercom champion Bret Hart, who's gonna be a workhorse for us. He's gonna beat IRS with the sharpshooter by submission. I don't think it's gonna be at the Rick Martel level, but I think that going with Bret and Martel at the Rumble instead of doing like Bret and the Mountie, I like the idea of having a good match on the Rumble undercard, considering the Rumble match itself takes up so much time. The Beverly Brothers are going to beat High Energy, with Blake getting the pin this time on Owen. Again, I did with Owen because with Coco, I kind of want to keep him, I guess, kind of protected in some sense for the eventual storyline with Papa Shango. Sid Justice is going to have his mandatory squash, this time with the Repo Man. There's going to be no harm there. Speaking of Rick Martel, he's going to beat Virgil with the Boston Crab, or the Quebec Crab, in about 10 minutes. The Nasty Boys going to continue their momentum heading into the Royal Rumble by defeating the Bushwhackers at this live event. I believe it was an elbow drop to Butch. Could be wrong, but that's what that is for Jerry Sags. Obviously Sid with the powerbomb. And then the Beverly Brothers with that lifting up into the air and driving the head down to the mat. Tatanka end of the trail on Warlord. And as you can see here, Warlord is none too happy about it. I had originally put Berserker here, and Berserker wasn't happy either. But I decided, you know what? Warlord, I guess really Berserker for that matter. I guess it didn't really matter. I don't know how much longer they're going to be in this promotion to begin with. So you're gonna eat the pin. That's just the reality that we're going for. In our main event, that's right, the fans are not going to be sent home happy. We're going to have Ric Flair hitting Piper with essentially the brass knuckles for the pin to win the match in about 15 minutes. It's a slow build, my friends. Piper. I think there's money in Piper chasing after Flair to get that elusive win. Now, I'm not going to say that Piper's going to lose every single time, but in terms of the national audience, I think the moment where he kind of prevails potentially over Flair on a big stage would be pretty meaningful, and the banter that these two could have is just good TV. It's kind of surprising, really, that for the most part, Flair and Piper didn't have a big TV match. I believe they were like a dark match on this Tuesday in Texas in '91, but it wasn't aired. So I guess WWE Evolved, if you have that match available. we might want to see that one and see how that goes off. But yeah, obviously, I mean, Flair and the Savage 92, Piper and Hart 92. I mean, they both had, amazing matches, so it didn't really matter. But I think that their interactions would be quite entertaining. Okay, so the cost for this for the arena here is $26,500, less than 5,000 capacity. Our potential attendance is 5,000, so maybe we can get a sellout. That'd be nice. Our wages are a bit higher this time around, probably because of Flair and Piper. I think they both make more. Yeah, I mean, Flair's making like $14,000 per appearance, and then Piper's only at about just over 3. So, but with Hart, I think it's probably most so just Flair is driving the cost there. So, let's see the reception that we get, and maybe we can get a bigger gate from the previous show. Who knows? We'll see. Let's see. Let's start the show. -0.5 star. So Papa Django's not going to get good matches for us. That is abundantly clear. Crowd not really into it, but as we maybe build up Shango, that will change. The shoulder breaker. Here we go. They didn't give 100% because it's not an important show. I mean, it is just a live event. So yeah, okay. Good. So Shango looks like a threat. That's good. That's a positive. We got a dud out of Slaughter and Berserker. Fantastic. 98%. Now, as you'll notice, the other two matches were the crowd really didn't care because it was an unimportant show. While this is an unimportant show, they are just thrilled. The whole segment got a 98%. So it clearly depends on the characters involved. So it's safe to say the match between Piper and Flair is going to be quite interesting. 2.5 stars for Hart and Irwin. Workers did not give 100% of their effort, and then of course a couple of sentences down, Bret Hart put in a huge effort, so I'm taking that as IRS. I didn't really care. And then you see here, so we gained a little bit, and then we lost it immediately when he lost to Bret Hart. That's okay. That's all right. It doesn't matter. 2.5 stars. Crowd a little bit more amped for it. But yeah, that's fine. Okay, we have the Beverly Brothers getting a 2-star match out of High Energy, getting the win. And this was 15 minutes. And Coco Beware was struggling. I think it looks like Owen was the only one not struggling. Yeah, Owen loved it. So here, now this is good to see. Owen is heavily praised. Explosive and proud. He impressed the crowd. Masterful in these situations. Huge effort. Stuff like that we're going to have to keep an eye on. I'm surprised he didn't get any kind of change there. Of course, I had him taking the fall. So, but we're trying to build up the Beverly Brothers for something meaningful. So Sid gets a dud with Repo Man. Crowd wasn't particularly excited about it, but yet 70%. So probably the most interested they were was Sid just destroying Repo Man, hitting the powerbomb. And you can see there, you got a little bit of a boost. Repo Man goes down a little bit. -0.5 star for Rick Martel beating Virgil in 10 minutes with the Quebec Crab or Boston Crab, whichever you want to call it. Okay. And then we have the Nasty Boys getting a 0.5 star match out of the Bushwhackers. Nothing too noteworthy there. Let's see what the Warlord, he wouldn't sell much. A negative star, negative full star. I mean, I'm tempted as the Fire Warlord for this nonsense. End of the trail for Tatanka, finishes him off there. And our main event was just starting to happen. The crowd loved it. And that's good. Struggling to breathe after a 15-minute match. That's not a good sign for Piper. Yeah, and obviously Flair using the brass knucks to defeat Piper in the end. So, again, I don't hate this. It's probably going to be, 69. So that's less than our previous house show. That's all right. All that matters is how much money we make out of it. To this. Okay. So, we did. Well, that didn't change anything. Did this not change anything? Well, we don't want to do that because I don't know what's going on here. Okay. Yeah, we already did that. Am I missing something? How do we go to the next day? Oh, do I need to... Oh, I gotta probably do this, right? Okay. I was confused there for a second. So we actually have to accept these contracts. Okay, so we hired... Del Wilkes. Let's get that appropriately back there. Okay. Tracy Smothers. So I guess these guys could have been on our rosters if I had signed them appropriately. I'm trying to readjust this. Okay. So there's this. Finalize all these guys. I just had an almost panic attack thinking that I had screwed up the game here. So good thing that I figured this out. Obviously, I haven't played this too much to know that I was fine. Okay. So we signed all these guys, and again, these are all good. Okay. Now we're going to the next day. We have 3 messages. So this would have been... So none of these are from... Oh, wait, here we go. That's what we want. So Superstars of Wrestling in the WWF Live event sold 10,000 tickets. We're going to get almost $600,000 from the ticket sales. A sum after giving the workers booked on the night, a total of $6,000 due to the gate share clause in their contracts. I'm sure that's about like Flair and Piper and stuff like that. Superstars of Wrestling, the syndication almost got 3 million viewers, and that'll net us just over $635,000. And then that same show on Sky Sports got almost just over $288,000. That's going to net us $51,100. Okay, so that's not too terrible. We've made some money. We've made some money here in our booking. Let's look at our finances. So we're still... So for this month, we're in the green for $3.4 million. Tickets right there, just about 900,000 so far, just with a few shows. Sponsors. I mean, right there, staff wages just under $700,000. So ticket sales are at least offsetting the staff wages. So that's pretty good. All right, so our next shows are the Wrestling Challenge and then another live event. And we're going to be kicking this into higher gear. If we look at right here, Saturday night on TBS did 1.8. We did almost 3, so we're well ahead of them. I guess, well, actually, if you incorporate, well, maybe it's a little closer. If you incorporate the Samurai TV and TSN, now we're still ahead of them. Okay, so WCW is doing all right, but we're still far ahead of them. Okay, so our only pending contracts are with Mabel and Mo. If I had to guess, we'll get those situated pretty quickly. Let's look at our rosters. Those guys should all be officially on our rosters by this point. Yep, there's Del Wilkes. We'll have to change his name to the Patriot. I don't plan on having these guys debut necessarily anytime soon. There's John Layfield. But they will gradually be getting involved. I mean, will probably make appearances on the live events before anything on television, which would then, I would imagine, potentially impact the debut on television, but that's just how it's going to have to go. All right, this is a pretty quick episode, all things considered. I'll be back in the next episode with the Wrestling Challenge and the live event for January 5th. And we're going to continue on with marching towards the Royal Rumble, which is literally 2 weeks away in game, where we're going to crown a WWF champion, and stuff is going to pick up quicker than you will believe.